Hello, this is Robert from Intrinsic Dev. In this video, I will show you how to download and install our Shelly drivers for RTI. We currently have two Shelly driver packs available for RTI, the Shelly Lighting and Shades Driver Suite and the Shelly Sense Driver. The Shelly Lighting and Shade Suite supports all Gen 1, 2 and 3 lighting devices. This is via two drivers split into Gen 1, which we've called Shelly Lighting, and Gen 2 and 3 called Shelly Plus Lighting. These drivers provide full control and feedback, including detailed RGB control for applicable device types. The full list of supported models can be checked here. And then as a separate download, we have Shelly Sense, which allows monitoring of Shelly i4 devices so that event-based automation can be triggered. All of our RTI Shelly drivers require our Multicast comms driver to be included in the system. I will explain more about this additional driver shortly and cover the full setup process for all three Shelly drivers in one system. But first, I will quickly run through purchasing and downloading via our website. We offer a 14-day free trial for our drivers, so if you would like to test first, you can click download here straight away. Once this time period has elapsed, or you just wish to go ahead and purchase, click Buy License Key. Please complete this form. Make sure to include your RTI processor's MAC address. If unsure of your MAC, you can view it in Integration Designer, Show Devices on Local Network. Once the form and payment is complete, click Download. This will take you to Dropbox. Download and extract the zip folders. Each folder contains an example Apex file showing the individual driver setup, a detailed integration note document which covers the unique setup process for each driver, and finally the driver file itself. The Gen 1 folder also contains the HSV color bar images used in the example file. Both folders will contain the Multicast driver, which must be included in the system. If you're going to be using both a Shelly Lighting driver and the Shelly Sense driver, only one copy of these Multicast drivers needs to be downloaded and installed to the system, as they are exactly the same. I have 8 Shelly devices on my network that require I use all 3 Shelly drivers. I have a Duo, Dimmer 2, 1pm, and a Shelly bulb. These will be programmed with the Gen 1 Shelly Lighting driver. Then the plug US, Pro 1pm, and a Pro 2. These will be programmed with the Gen 2 and 3 Shelly Plus lighting driver, and a Plus i4 that will be programmed with the Shelly Sense driver. Of course, the driver or combination of drivers that you require depends on the Shellys on your network. For a clear list from Shelly, Google Shelly API just to double check which one you have. Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3. The Shelly i4 is a Gen 2 Plus device, but we've separated this into a separate driver, Shelly Sense. Let's open a fresh Integration Designer window and create a new project. First, if required, head to Options and set your directories. I'm going to start with Shelly Lighting. New system. I have an XP3. Add Office. Controllers. Going to add a global virtual panel. Don't need the weather for this example. Drivers. There are individual sources for each device type, 1 to 16, if you require to split them into each room. I've also included Shelly Lighting Global as a source, if you wish to control all devices from one page set. I'm going to be using this. Now we need the multicast driver. I'm going to quickly swap over my directory. Drivers, add new user, add new driver, intrinsic multicast driver, add device. This COM driver allows multiple separate or duplicate drivers to discover and communicate with devices that require a multicast connection via a shared multicast group address and port. As the RTI processors can only have one multicast socket open at a time in a system, this COM driver takes that single port and traffics the relevant data forward to drivers that have been mapped to listen. So as we need to use all 3 Shelly drivers for my 8 Shelly devices, which all require multicast communication, this multicast driver solves this and allows us to have as many Shelly drivers and other intrinsic drivers that need multicast as we want in the system. If you'd like more detailed information, including how to set up IPs to ignore, please see the multicast integration note. The integration notes for the individual Shelly drivers contain their individual steps for setting up their multicast mapping settings. Please note that these settings can be combined with the various communication styles required for the different Shelly drivers if you're using a combination of the 3. So you'll see as I continue forward in this demonstration, I will be coming back to adjust these driver properties further. But depending on which drivers you're going to be using, you can stop at that point and continue on to your UI programming. So first, Shelly Lighting. By default, the group address and port are set to what we need for Shelly, so you can leave multicast settings, group address and port as they are. Take global data line enabled. The number of connections is not required, and if you are only using this driver, it could be set to 0. Number of addresses to ignore, not required. Next, head to the Shelly Lighting driver properties. Let's do the multicast mapping first. I'm going to link global data RX to the intrinsic multicast driver. Intrinsic multicast driver, multicast data, global data RX. You can see that when successfully mapped, both sides here will be identical. This also goes for all other mapping that we will be doing shortly. And that's it. Now, in order to view all of our discovered Shellys, we're going to send this system to the processor and head to the management port web page, which will be hosted by the processor and accessed by entering the IP address of the processor, followed by a colon, and the port number that has been set here. If this port is unavailable or nothing seems to load, then try another port in case there is a conflict in your network. It's sent to the system. Go to your browser. Nine, 3. If this site can't be reached, that means that the driver is still loading up. So keep hitting reload. This page will show us which device type category the driver has organized the Shelly devices into, therefore providing us with the correct variables, commands, and events for that particular device type. So here is the management port web page. Please allow a moment for the driver to process the discovered devices. Keep hitting the refresh button until they're all here. Here they are. This should only take a minute or so, but if this page is loaded and no devices are being displayed at all, then there may be a multicast related issue on your network. If this is the case, feel free to submit a support ticket via our website for help with this. So when you've made sure that all your devices are here, you can head back to Integration Designer. I'm going to use the drop-downs under number of devices to inform the driver how many devices we have for each device type. 1 relay, 1 dimmer, Kelvin, and Spectrum device. Next, copy and paste their IP addresses and channel names into these fields, and also set a name. So that's done. We can now move on to setting up a UI. You can see under Tag Browser, Shelly Lighting driver tags, we only have the tags available for the number of devices that have been set in the Shelly Lighting driver properties. So we'll build a very quick panel. And we'll see this in action at the end of the video when I send the full system for all 8 Shelly devices to the processor. Next, we're going to add the Shelly Plus lighting driver. Reset my directories, add new, Shelly Plus lighting. Again, like with Shelly Lighting, we have the individual zones. For this, we have 32 of each. I'm just going to add a Shelly Plus lighting global as a quick demo. Onto the driver properties for Shelly Plus lighting. You'll notice there are a few more things for us to map. Nothing needs to be adjusted further in the Intrinsic Multicast driver. Let's go ahead and map these. Group address, port, Google data, OX. And you can see these match on either side. So like with the Shelly Lighting, before we do anything else, we can send this to the processor. And you'll see we've already been given a different port number. So we're going to do the exact same process. Open a browser. This time head to 9094. Allow a moment or two for the driver to start. The more drivers we add, the longer it will take. But keep on pressing reload. So here we are. Here's the Shelly Plus Lighting Management Port web page. Click refresh just to make sure all your devices have been discovered. And here they are. You'll see that one of my relay devices has 2 channels. So head to driver properties. So we have 3 relays. Relay 1. Now we get to use this drop down. So 1 to 4, we only have 2. And now we have an additional input field for channel name 1 and 2. And that's that. Make another quick panel. And finally, we're going to add a Shelly Sense Driver. So this driver does require some additional settings to be changed in the Intrinsic Multicast driver properties. We need to tell the Multicast driver which IP to target and listen to. So this is not a discoverable device. You have to know your IP and manually enter it. Number of connections, 1. Head to the Shelly Plus Sense Driver properties. So we can also link forward the IP addresses added to the Multicast driver, meaning we don't need to add it again here. Multicast driver, device IPs, IP address 1, device name, and then onto the multicast mapping. Like before, group address, intrinsic multicast driver, multicast connection, group address, port, intrinsic multicast driver, port, multicast data RX. So we need to tell it which device to listen to. Multicast data RX1. It's important to note that, unlike Shelly Lighting and Shelly Plus Lighting, this Shelly Plus Sense driver is only for a single sense device. So if you had more in your network, you need to add another instance of this driver, and then in the multicast mapping here, you would have multicast data RX2 and so on. Driver events. Further automation could be programmed here. So that's it. No UIs required or intended. Let's send our final system to the processor and launch a virtual panel. Shelly Lighting. Confirm that the lights in the office are flashing in red, changing colour. And that's it. Thanks for watching.